2018 Bentley Continental GT Review, 626 bhp coupe tested. It's a Bentley Continental GT, but not as we know it. It wears the badge, it's got the doe-eyed headlights and AW12, but that's about it. This is Conti V2.0 and it is pretty much all new. Based on the same platform as the Panamera, Porsche's MSB, new Continental gets a mixed materials skeleton, mainly aluminium and steel, clothed in big sheets of more aluminium. In fact, it's all aluminium, apart from the bootlid, which is only composite because that's where all the aerials and receiver wear sits, and most things like that don't like to be sheathed in metal. It looks svelte this time around. The previous gen Continental was a handsome enough bus, but it was a bit of a brick. The new one is lower, more muscular, neater, and less bulky. More fitness model than weightlifter. The panels are superformed, a process where aluminium sheets are heated to 500 degrees and then formed over a buck using press-sunrized gas rather than a stamp, and the results are spectacular. Just look at those side creases. In fact, one of the big joys of the GT is the rear haunch line, because it undercuts slightly and is nicely razored, it flicks light like there's no tomorrow. Sculptural stuff. Just don't mention the panel beating cost if you reverse it into something. It's a tiny bit lighter than before, but to be honest, it's not that big a deal in percentage terms. There's a lot of stuff gone back into the architecture after the initial hardware weight loss. It's still got a daft W12 though? Yes, and, no. There's still a W-shaped 12-cylinder up front, like a pair of V6s canted together, but the engine has been severely reworked. It's now got twin injection, separate systems for both high and low pressure, good for particulate management, power delivery, refinement, and the pension funds of injector manufacturers, twin scroll turbos, variable displacement, shutting down one side of the engine in gears 3 to 8 below 3,000 rpm, start-stop, and active engine mounts. All that means more MPG, and a respectable 278 G/km, Euro 6 compliance, US LEV 3, and better refinement. What it means to us, is 626 bhp, up 7.5%, and a whopping 25% or more torque, available in less than a third of the time versus the old engine. This is all excellent news. Because it means that the GT now hits, in standard form, don't forget, 0 to 62 miles per hour in 3.7s and 207 miles per hour, with in-gear acceleration that'll push your eyebrows past your hairline. I'm also of the opinion that there's a fair amount of headroom in this architecture, 850 bhp Supersport in a couple of years, anyone? But it's still a front-engined W12. So that's hello to nose-led handling again, then? Again, no. There's been engineering going on. And we're not talking about someone doing some reprogramming of the damper settings with a laptop. The W12 has been moved down and back, to the point where the front driveshafts now run through the bottom of the sump. In fact, there's only 1.5 mm of clearance down there, and the results are obvious. 1. The center of gravity has dropped a bit, and 2. That has allowed the bonnet to be lower and the front wheels to move forwards. You don't need to be a physics graduate to appreciate these are good things. There's the usual all-wheel drive, with various torque splits and clever things going on depending on which drive mode you're in, and a generous rear drive bias in most situations. We took the car around Anglesey racetrack for a few laps as well as the tricky, technical roads around Snowdonia in Wales, and it is night and day versus the old car. Basically, it's now got a reliable front end. Where the old Conti required adaptation, Supersport and GT3 less so, to a tendency to headbutt things, the new car digs and drives. The whole car feels much lighter than it should, more wieldy and less bulky. There's better body control in every direction, including pitch under braking, and where you'd be amused at making the old Conti do stuff, now you actually feel satisfied with going rapidly. It's not a small car, you'll never make it dance about like a lightweight, but now it's got some serious chops. I do happen to think that it's a better car at 80% attack though, if you back off a bit and let it swoop, it's awesome. So has it gone all sports car? Not entirely. So sport mode is a bit nibbly and aggressive, but there's also a full waft comfort mode, and Bentley which is somewhere in between. And the distance between the settings is generous, meaning that the GT hasn't lost its ability to cover miles. And I did a lot of miles. Part of this is down to the 48-volt electric ride control system, which winds the anti-roll bars in and out, nicked off the Bentayga, but also down to the new triple-chambered air suspension. Basically, it's one air spring sleeved inside another, with the third air donut on the end. The different settings variously lock out the relevant chambers and alter the handling and ride characteristics accordingly.